actually very well. And we found that online students get more challenges. They feel they're getting more of a challenge when they're online than the students who are in traditional schools.
So, Kathy, I think the number one question that we get is in sort of an incredulous tone of, really, students can do better online than they can in a brick-and-mortar setting, right? I mean, is that really what we're seeing? And if so, why?
I think there's a pretty good chunk of the population that can do better in an online setting. Sometimes they like the socialization part, the lunchroom, clubs, activities, sports, hanging out with friends, going to and coming from school. So that is a unique piece of face-to-face. But just this ability to be in control of my own fate is so huge for students today. Many of us in prior years tolerated not being in control. Today's students don't tolerate that very well. And I think we're continuing to see large dropout rates in this country because we have not met students where they are, who need these same kinds of individualized approaches. And our teachers, much to their amazing credit, have tried to do that classroom by classroom, and it is an uphill battle, where it is not in an online setting. Here's some more good news. As we said, kids want to go to college, but in online, they're actually more interested in attending a four-year college than traditional students. And I will tell you, I was a little skeptical of this the first time I saw it, Greg, and I thought, oh, maybe we're just creaming kids. We're getting the kids who really already want to go to college are willing to try an online setting. And then I went to the Cook County Jail. And this is a program with all the young men participating with an ankle bracelet on to make sure that they don't leave the facility undetected. So this is a pretty tough group of kids. And in that group, what I saw were two boys who proudly showed off, two young men actually, their community college IDs. They were going to college. I promise you, they had no hope of that when they walked in those doors. But through a combination of support programs and credit recovery, they were able to graduate and get into a community college. So they were beginning to think about college in a way that they had never thought about before.
And there were also a handful of students that were just awarded externships with various companies in the Chicago area. And so they weren't college bound, but they had a clear line of sight into what their next step was and into learning a trade and earning money. And it's just it's very nice to see.
Well, we're going to talk about that more when we talk about credit recovery and that scenario. But for kids today who struggle and are behind, they don't see that path. As a matter of fact, it's precluded for most of them. If you're behind and you're now a junior and there's no way you could get to your senior year without putting in 2 more years, they give up. So online education gives them that path, shows them how they can get from where they are today to where they need to be relatively quickly. And I think that attracts them and hooks them in believing that they can then go to the next level, which is on to higher ed. So let's take a look for a minute again back at our traditional students versus those online, and that whole question of getting help when you fall behind. I know it is a real sticking issue for most students. That frustration that we saw earlier, that I can't get what I needed, I have to ask for it, and even then, I really can't get what I need. So if you look at the comparison, clearly students online are feeling that they can get the help more so than kids in a traditional classroom. And I think, Greg, it's the setting. It's the ability to ask for help without being embarrassed, get it when I need it, get exactly what I need. I think it's a real nice way to meet student needs.
Yep, I agree. That's what we hear across the country from students. They're not afraid to ask, and that's very empowering.
I'll go back to this Cook County Jail experience and actually sitting with those young men. And one of the things that credit recovery is much more self-paced and less teacher-intensive than an original credit course. But these boys all had chosen to post a picture of their credit recovery teacher there. And then they had in their dialogue box this ongoing conversation with their teacher. And more than half the group said, you know, if I had one wish, it was that they could not be where they are today, but that I could actually meet this person who's helping me. I could meet my teacher. Teachers are an incredibly important part of the connection and keeping kids engaged. So that's an exciting thing to know that it's available and it's there for you. So again, back to this whole individualizing education for students. Online education is rewiring how we think about education. Everything from that flexibility to the one-on-one relationship that teachers and students finally get to have, to the complete challenge. You know, how do I take a student who's doing well and get them and keep them excited about school? And the counter to that, that second chance for students who might drop out. But Greg, I also want to mention there's a whole group of schools in the middle that are struggling to offer a full curriculum, full offering, because of something that's not their fault at all. For example, let's think about our rural school systems in this country. Very small. Well, today to go to college, you need 3 years of a foreign language, for example, to get into some schools. We have a small rural district in West Texas. A rancher there who went to Notre Dame, as a matter of fact, wants his kids to go to Notre Dame, but their local school system only offers 2 years of a foreign language. So by using an online program, he's able to get them that third year, and I think his daughter just got into Harvard, actually, not even Notre Dame, but the same idea applies. We have other schools where they can't get a major works or an advanced placement physics teacher into that community. We have some real tough schools where it's tough to attract teachers who can teach those advanced classes. So again, online education not only is flexible for the student, but it's flexible for the school and the school system.